So, I am with the Earth and the gravitation, and basically how Earth became this manifested expression. It was because of the core, gravitation, the principle of gravitation, which flowed through everything that this universe galaxy consists of, to one manifested form. And the Atlanteans were quite a massive race. They were massive. They were the most extensive race that existed in existence in its entirety during that time. And of course Anu was curious, and he asked why, and they said, well, they don't die. They are able to manifest different expressions of themselves, which you would see as the child expressions of the Atlanteans. And I said, you do this with awareness? And the Atlanteans said, yes. We found that we're actually able to design ourselves, and in that design we become different expressions. We're different, but we're the same in one. So in terms of the race of the Atlanteans themselves, they quite comprehended oneness and equality, even though they duplicated themselves. Well, it's not duplicated, it's designed child expressions of themselves, which grew up with different expressions. And of course this Anu was very curious, and he wanted to find out, how exactly how it was done. So for quite a while he spent time with the Atlanteans, an extensive amount of time, and learned about their creative abilities. And through time, I'd say, if you want to call it time, Earth became more and more manifested, solid. But an interesting thing occurred. The Atlanteans themselves didn't become solid. The Annunaki who were here, who manifested certain things, except the gold, of course, weren't solid. And that's basically where land started manifesting. And Earth in itself started sprouting from there, if you want to call it that. Just as everything became more manifested from the center, everything became manifested, but only on the planet, not the beings themselves. Yet there was gravitation. And the Atlanteans pondered the situation. Now, how the Atlanteans manifested, if you want to call it that, on this earth is through the water. They used the water as sound movement to manifest themselves. In other words, they were of water, they were of sound. So in terms of them being able to manifest here on earth, it was quite simple, because their expression is of water, which is of sound. And now this is basically, I'm just skipping forward, it's basically through time, this is how everything started manifesting. Plants and trees, I'll get to that just now, and dinosaurs did exist. And also, if you want to call it evolution of man, that exists as well, but not as a evolutionary process. It was, mankind was developed in a certain way, it didn't work, they were removed. Mankind was developed in another way, it didn't work, they were removed. It wasn't a process of evolution at all. The process of evolution basically started, when was it? Yeah, I'll get to that. But anyway, let me continue. So, Anu started noticing that everything is manifesting, and he wondered what on earth is going on. And the Atlanteans explained exactly what they did, because they knew exactly what they were going to do, and they knew exactly why they manifested everything, and they couldn't figure out why they couldn't manifest. The Atlanteans, of course, because they really wanted to manifest here, along with their expression, which is this planet. And then Anu came with an idea. He said the following. Okay. If I look at this gold is manifesting, as with this earth, but I'm using components of this earth planet. It wasn't called Earth then. Here it was, I'll get to the name. I'll get to the name. And so gold is actually manifesting. So what does that mean? That which is of this planet, if we use that, we're able to design possibly something that manifests for us to be able to manifest here. And the Atlanteans quite like that idea. And with that proposal, now I know, of course, Anu and them also wanted to manifest, and so he asked the Atlanteans, okay, hear this. If I design this for you, may I manifest here too? The Atlanteans pondered. Again, they said no. They said, this is our planet. We thank you for your input and your assistance, but no, this is our planet, and you are your race, we are ours, we have our agreement, you've got your gold, what else do you need? And then he came and he said, to exist infinitely. Infinitely. They said, it is impossible. He said, no, I'll show you it is possible. And they said, okay. Now, this is now the Atlanteans. Said, I'll make an agreement with you. You manifest that which will able to sustain us in this manifested planet infinitely. And you may then manifest forms that are able to remove and retrieve gold for you from here. Because a problem came at the following moment. When gold manifested and they were interdimensional and they couldn't particularly get the gold. Okay, this is Jack. I'll explain to you just now how that happened.